The Owlbox project was established in 2014. It's one of the projects that FreeMe Wildlife runs at the moment. And there are a couple of reasons that it was started, but the main drive behind it was encouraging people to move away from using pesticides in the environment and rather to look at ways of encouraging natural predators so that there's a balance established. So, for example, we're using Rodenticide. So I know the target there is rats, but unfortunately rats provide a food base for a lot of predators, and this includes owls. So if you've got in an area where you're poisoning rats and you have the owls affected, so it could be the breeding pair, it could be their young if they have young at that time of year, you actually end up eliminating the natural predators out of the cycle, and the rats benefit because what happens is then they have a huge rodent explosion because they don't have any natural predators keeping them in check. A lot of bird species, including owls, actually bring young up on insects. There's a huge part of that component of their chick's diet that is insects. So you can affect owls and of course other birds by using pesticides on your crops and in your garden and stuff like that. So we focus on this three what we call cavity nesting species, so spotted eagle owls, barn owls, wood owls, because out of our 12 owl species, those are the guys that are likely to use those boxes. The whole drive behind it was rather encourage your natural predators because you end up with a balance in an ecosystem. And owls are very good at keeping that balance. So of course you do have to have rodents around because that's their prey source, but they breed in relation to food availability. So where you're finding there's a big rodent population in the area, your owls that are living in the area will have a lot more chicks. And if the food supply is not so readily available, their family planning adjusts so that they will have less chicks that year. Another reason is that FreeMe is quite strong on education, and particularly in rural areas where sometimes there's a lot of fear and there's a lot of misunderstanding about owls. So we took the project into those areas and was very successful, and part of that was sometimes the reintroduction of owls in that area. And this is where once again the boxes come into play, because it's so much easier to reintroduce these owls into areas if they've got a safe home that you already supply them with, and then to release them in the box because then they've got a point of origin. They can come back and then hopefully use it as a nesting space as adults. FreeMe is very strong on believing that we want to inspire and educate and empathy for the wildlife and our environment. So the Owlbox project is one of those things that pulls all of those aspects together, and of course you get your communities and you get your people involved. So citizen science is quite a strong thing behind it, because anybody that's got an occupied owl box then becomes the custodian of those owls in that box. They record all the data from it, so when their owls were breeding, the number of young they were raised, and then our FreeMe team goes through every year and puts item rings on those babies, just so that once again it contributes to research. We can see where those juveniles disperse and if those juvenile birds start using boxes as adults too.